We'll see you back here next time.
You've been listening to The Rick Smith Show. Email Rick.
NBC News on KCAA Loma Linda, sponsored by Teamsters Local 1932, protecting the future of working families. Teamsters1932.org.
All right, good evening. Welcome to the Farron Dozier Show on KCAA Radio, 106.5 FM, 1050 AM. Also streaming from the KCAA Radio.com website and MBRradio.us. We got to bless the show before we get started. Let's go. When I was in my mother's womb, I had a calling on my life to do something in the glory of God and marry it like a wife. Commit myself to his word and never be led astray. And when it's all over, when he comes, I'll be glad to see that day in the morning time. AM and streaming at kcaradio.com, the station that leaves no listener behind. We want to thank you for tuning in tonight. As always, we have a very important, spectacular show for you here. Tuesdays at 6 p.m. Also catch me on Wednesdays on the Military Broadcast Radio Network. That's right, MBR, where I host my military talk shows and some more variety shows over there. That's Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Again, if you are in your car right now in the Empire and you got to get out, grab your device, type in kcaradio.com, click listen live or watch live because we are in the studios, or go and download the app. That's right, we got the app, so you can go and get that and then listen to all the podcasts. I say Monday through Monday because there's a show every day of the week that you can listen to here. What else? So the ABA basketball, I'm still waiting for the schedule. Hopefully that will come out soon. But we do have our first, counts as a home game, but an away game in Linwood. So you can go to the IE Dogs ABA on Instagram. Follow us along over there. IEDogsABA.com for more information over there. If you'd like to brand with our team this season, you can reach out to us as well. And we'll set you up with our packages, and you can brand with our basketball team this season. We are looking to take care of the foster care children this season. So if you'd like to participate in that, we're working that out to invite those children to all of our home games and provide resources, some fun items for them and some food, but also to watch the game. So that's because we want to create this relatedness. It was put on my heart that, that transition out of that foster care system for some has been or can be challenging. So they told us that they do have programs that keep them from 18 to like 22, but they still have to be willing to go in those programs. Right. So Jesse that was here a couple weeks ago, we talked about that and just teaching them some soft skills, communication skills. So I've looked at it, even though I wasn't in the foster care, but as a human being, we all deal with that transition and change, that identity. And so for them, I could see it could be more exasperated because you're in that system, right? And all the stuff that they're dealing with, that sense of belonging. So that is one of our conversations. Of course, the sickle cell trait is one. Actually, I'm going to be at a sickle cell trait conference in LA, the Sickle Cell Consortium there in town. So tomorrow night until Saturday, I'll be at the SC3 Sickle Cell Conference. I'm a trait carrier, so I'll be doing the trait track. So I have a talk on Thursday and on Friday there. What else? Always taking care of the dogs. So For the Love of Dogs, that is our other campaign. Since we are the IE, we used to be the IE Hounds, now we're the IE Dogs. And so just taking care of those animals for sure. And then, of course, hydration, and we do mental health, mental toughness. So any of those conversations, or you have one that you want to bring to the table and advocate with us, you're more than welcome to bring your conversation to the table. In those sponsorship packages, you can be a guest here on the show, get some commercials here for your company and your brand, and again, help us, chase that ABA championship this coming season. Last season, we ended up at 14-6. Year before was 17-3. So Coach LG was here last week, and just following him along. He's coaching the Drew League right now, so I'm at the Drew League games with him on the weekend. So he's an excellent coach. I got about 99% confidence in his coaching skills. So I don't use trust. So I definitely have confidence, about 99% confidence in his coaching ability. So I'm looking forward to this coming season. And then we're creating, of course, the Riverside County Mavericks, putting that together for next year. And so, yeah, so that's pretty much the updates on that. Shouts out to Randy's in the building. Shouts out to Mr. Walker, Charlie, Angelica, who helped me hold this conversation down. Our other host, she's here on the end down there. Candace is back to participate in tonight's conversation with the ladies. So I got 2 PSAs to play, and then I'm going to voice my question, and then I'm going to disappear off the deck and let the ladies have the conversation. We've been talking about what it is to be a male man and a female woman, and we've gotten so far to being, for us men, as being providers and protectors. And then Pastor Luke came on and he was like, what is being male is to be vulnerable. And that was my view, because we look at what it is to be a male as an activity, what I do, but who are you in your heart? Who are you in your foundation? Who are your ingredients under pressure? And so I appreciate it, Pastor Luke, for opening up that conversation, for being vulnerable, which is a word that none of us enjoyed at all. I gave up being vulnerable at 14 up until 54 maybe.
Sheesh.
Yeah, so a long time that I just did not, had to find another word, didn't even use that word. But unfortunately, or fortunately, I'm able to be vulnerable. Like I was able to heal that 14-year-old teenager, right, that made that decision. And so I'm cool with it. It doesn't trigger me. I accept it. People say, oh, you're vulnerable. I'm like, yeah, okay, yeah, I'm cool with that, yeah. But to be vulnerable, yeah, it's still a little practice, but, there's other words that we're going to find out that you can use to describe life, right, that can give you your power back if it's not vulnerable. So the ladies are here tonight. They're going to elaborate on the conversation of what it is to be vulnerable. Carly here was here on the episode with us on the men's segment, and brought a great conversation to what it was to be vulnerable, even if we won't even be that way of being, right? So I'm gonna let them have that conversation tonight. I'll be back and forth on the deck, but let's play the PSAs. This is my sickle cell trait. Oh, we got the first one. This is our sponsor for tonight, Smile More Dental. We appreciate her. She was actually on one of the panels with the ladies before, so shouts out to her and her company. So pay attention to that PSA, and then also the sickle cell trait. This is the Farron Dozier Show on KCA Radio, 106.5 FM, at 250 AM, and NBR Radio. Shout us out, what's the count?
Transform your life with a brighter smile at Smile More Dental. Our expert team is dedicated to giving you the confidence you deserve through exceptional dental care. Whether it's routine cleanings or advanced cosmetic treatments, we're here to enhance your unique smile. Schedule your appointment today by calling 310-645-8777. That's 310-645-8777. Or visit our website at smilemore-dental.com. Change your world one smile at a time.
Hey, what's up, man? How you doing?
I'm blessed, my brother. How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Hey, did you see the game last night?
Oh, that was a good game.
But did you see the shot?
I lost money from that shot.
Oh, man, that shot was cold,
I
man.
hated it, but it was good. Damn. What's in those jeans?
You really want to know?
I do.
Exhaustion, muscle spasms, asthmatic issues, unexpected sickle cell trait crises.
Damn. Are you serious? When I was young, I found out I had sickle cell trait. My mom's told me, but I ain't have no knowledge of it. But when I got older, I had a child, and the doctor told me my daughter has sickle cell trait. Do you know the fact that both parents have sickle cell trait? There's a 50% chance the child may have the trait, and 25% chance the child may have the disease.
Hey, that's what's the count. Do you know that 2.5 million people in the United States have sickle cell trait, 300 million people globally? I didn't find out I had sickle cell trait until I was in the Army, 10 years. Next thing you know, I had a sickle cell trait exertion site.
Sickle cell? I thought that was a black gene or something.
Nah, man, the Latin community is number 2. 1 out of 36,000 babies are being born with sickle cell disease. You could be Caucasian, Mediterranean, European. You gotta know your bloodline, man. There is an inherited gene in our community that has been forgotten. The name is sickle cell trait. WDCONSCT, also known as What's the Count, is out to bring awareness, education, and prevention to people all over the globe. Want more information? Call us now at 323-215-5384 or visit www.wdconsct.org. Is it still on? Are we still live? Yeah, we're still live. The front doors is showing KC Radio.
If I share my vulnerability, will you listen and love me in all my imperfections? If I open up and dare to share my truth with you, will you help me through? If I take off my armor and show you my naked skin, will you know how to honor the sensitive soul within?
All right. Cora Flora. Welcome back to the Front Doors Show on KC Radio 106.5 FM, 10:50 AM. I'm telling you, that word is no joke, man. I mean, just to hear her sing about that and to take myself back to that little 14-year-old teenager, right, who I didn't even know what vulnerable meant back then, but to land on that, right, as a decision to protect myself, to not be, and then live life in that way of being as a protection, but also damaging at the same time, like that's a lot. And even when I discovered it for myself, to look back and to still have to do damage control now, right, on relationships, like, but for it to be from a 14-year-old teenager, can you imagine what our teens are dealing with like that today in their own version of that? And I never talked to anybody about that. Like, that was what my conversation was to myself.
Right.
I never even knew that I could even say something like that to somebody, of what I felt. Or even when I left school that day and just walked home with the embarrassment and the shame and then the disappointment in myself, right? For some girl that represented all women from that point, right? So to hear her sing that and to want to be vulnerable as a word that we use to describe our experience with another person, you know, what is that? And Carly, you mentioned in your definition of what it is to be vulnerable and vulnerability, which I never looked at it like that, that maybe do I even want to open up myself to be harmed, if that's one of the definitions that we can look from? Because that's what it feels like after you've experienced the hurt. It's like, do I want to open up myself for that danger again? And so for me, at some point, life was fun, exciting, and dangerous. But the dangerous was in relationships. And so I'd rather, after I joined the military, send me to war before you put me in a relationship with a woman. Like, wow. I'd rather that, because military, the war wasn't dangerous for me. But a relationship, done, right? So I even talked to my mom one day, and I was trying to figure it out. And I asked my mom, well, to you, what's dangerous in life? And she's like, when I see somebody changing a tire on the side of a freeway, like, for her, that's dangerous. I'm like, that's nothing, right? So everybody has their own view of life. Yeah. And we describe it and hear people say life is hard or life is difficult. And so when you hear people talk, they're telling you their experience of life in those categories. Yeah. And I lived life was fun exciting and dangerous. And when danger showed up, I had no control over how I behaved, right? Because it was dangerous to me. So I want to ask the ladies this question before I turn the deck over. Just in conversation, shouts out to Lala. I'm going to give Lala credit because she inspired this talk before we had that one panel that you was on with her. But we were talking before. She was the guest that day, and she brought up that for her, men was unsafe, right? And I've been told that before, like, I don't feel safe with you. But I wasn't in this space back then, so I didn't know how to take that. I feel like she was blaming me for something that I had no control over. But to then understand today, you know, that we do describe life, right? And we do experience things that we put off on other people, that I need to get this from you before I show you my safety or whatever that is. But I want to ask you ladies if you can answer, and my caller, what is that for you when you hear, or have you told someone that I don't feel safe? Or what does that even mean? What is the person saying in that conversation?
I guess I'll start this off. Hi, I'm Carly Kalinich. And I mean, it depends on your definition of safety, right? And I think if, from what you mentioned, it seems as if that particular individual may have been projecting her safety issues. Because if you haven't given a person a reason to not feel safe around them, or for them not to feel safe around you, it has to go back to something deeper than that. Yeah. Probably stemming from experience. And we were talking earlier, and I used an analogy about this chair sitting here, right? If you sat down on this chair and it breaks, and say you hurt yourself, right? And I rebuild the chair, and I tell you to sit down on it again, you're gonna look at that chair for a while before you sit down. You might even test it out. You're gonna make sure it's good. You probably might choose the chair next to it just because based off experience, because it looks similar to something that might have and be triggering, right? Your experience is shaping how you feel. It shapes how you see things. And I think a lot of people experience a lot of rough things in life, right? And those safety issues might have been shaped by something else in their experience from their past, whether it's childhood trauma, adulthood trauma, but not necessarily.
Whatever it is.
You know, whatever it is, yeah.
Ma'am, introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Dozier King.
Get a little bit closer to the mic. Don't be shy. Go ahead.
Can y'all hear me now? So when it comes to safety in a relationship, I feel that being able to be myself, not worrying about like my partner's reaction, like if I do this, what's going to happen, what's going to be the outcome, how is he going to, like, do I have to walk on eggshells, or, you know, am I able to be myself? So that's what safety to me in a relationship pretty much means, because I mean, I never want to be in like a physical, you know, a harmful relationship, violence. So as long as I'm able to feel like I'm able to be myself and I don't have to walk on eggshells or worry about a reaction, I feel like that's my safety in a relationship.
And so if you was in a relationship like that and you felt you couldn't be yourself, could that be the unsafe that you
Yeah,
could
that's
be pointing
exactly
to?
the unsafe, because it's like I have to worry now. I don't know, like if I tripped over your rug and spilt something on it, how are you going to react? You know what I mean? So now I'm walking on eggshells because I don't trust. So like, why am I even here if I don't trust or if I don't feel comfortable or safe, you know, if I'm worried about a reaction?
For sure.
Great. My name's Candace Morgan, and I'm going to concur with you. Safety doesn't just mean that you're able to protect and provide, right? Safety, if you're in a relationship and somebody says that they can't trust you or they don't feel safe with you, perhaps it's because you're not opening up. It goes back to how you said you felt as a child. You weren't able to open up and let somebody feel how you feel or understand your train of thought. So as a woman, if I can't interpret what you're thinking, what you're feeling, and have you open up enough to be vulnerable and be honest about how you're feeling, that's not a safe place, because underlying that's an issue. There's no transparency there if you're not able to open up and kind of articulate how you feel, what you're thinking. There's no way to build on that, in my opinion.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess again challenging for me, because if I'm saying that I want safety from you, it's still me having to be open enough to share what my safety is, right?
First.
But somebody's got to go first, though.
Well, as a man, as a head of the relationship, as somebody who's taking that first initiative, a woman is looking to look up to you, for you to guide us. You know, we have the stigma of we want to be the strong one, but in actuality, we want to be led as well. We want to be led.
If I don't even know that, then how I'm to get in relationships already guarded.
Yeah. Well,
so we're all
people are guarded. We come into the relationship already guarded from, like you said, childhood trauma, what we've experienced in the past. So it's a little hard to just walk into something and be open. That's how we continue to get hurt again and again, you know.
Let me see. Lakeisha, are you on the line?
I am. Hi.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Thank you for tuning in, listening tonight. Can you do me a favor, introduce yourself, and then I want you to answer that question before I let you go.
Okay. Hi. My name is Lakeisha Richard. I live in the city of Paris, California, along with my husband, Julian. Well, actually, Bishop Julian Richards, and First Lady. They call me First Lady. Some call me Prophetess. You know, but I'm a minister in the gospel. So, and we serve together in Paris, California, along with our daughter and our grandchildren.
Thank you for taking time out today. So the question that I posed to the panel was, you know, when a woman or a person says that they don't feel safe with you, what have you heard, or what your personal experience? Even I prefer your personal experience before what you've heard. When you hear someone say that, what does that mean to you?
Just listening to the ladies, I didn't catch the first one's name. I agree with her. So it's some of these things that come from childhood. Sounds like childhood trauma. Mom, dad, some people grew up with parents, some didn't. You grew up with those in the families that didn't teach you anything because they don't know anything to teach you because nobody taught them. And it's just a list of things, and it just goes on and on and on.
Yeah.
But for me, when I heard the young lady speak, the first thing I went back to is my childhood. And a lot of times when you grow up in your home, you should feel safe automatically. But what happens when you're not? You know, you're not safe in a family way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You're being violated as a kid. You've been touched on. You know, being told things or to do things, and then you can't tell dad or you can't tell mom. Or there's a lot of things that's happening to you. So rather when you relationship, you know, what can I actually? Let me say this because it came to me. I heard you say something about the relationship, but my thing is that when you're caught, you already know automatically whether or not you guys are going to be together, long-lasting, marital, or is this something that you're doing at that time and at that moment? But that's your opportunity. If you want to share some things, and then sometimes there's just some things you can't share because you don't know if it's going to get back to another person.
Exactly.
You don't know if they're going to share that and, you know, violate you, and then now you got people staring at you and whispering and saying all kind of like little outlandish things about you. And so you're kind of scared to open up and share anything, because I still have some things that I have not shared because I don't feel that the things that I want to or experience is sure enough to handle what I need to share.
Yeah.
So therefore, a lot of times to allow me to share when he says it's okay to share.
Yeah.
When he knows it's going to be beneficial to somebody else and helpful to somebody else, and now they're going to take what they've heard from you and they're going to grow from that, or they're going to learn from that, and they're going to do better from that.
Yeah.
I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, no, thank you. Yeah, thank you for your time tonight. I really appreciate you for chiming in. Say hello to your husband for me. And I definitely agree because as you're sharing, it's like that's why men don't want to be vulnerable, because but the issue is we get stories passed down to us, right, as children. Oh, you don't open up to no woman because they're gonna use that against you. And so when you hear that as a child, you're already influenced by someone else's emotional trauma, describing as what's the name? John was saying that last time, right? So we observe traumas from people, and then we make it mean something about us to protect ourselves. And so it's like, why do I want to open up myself? Because it's weaponized against me, you know.
You have to be careful, because when you're having children, you don't want that same cycle to be repeated.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have to be real careful. So at some point, you're going to have to let that go. Does that make sense, what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You're going to have to, how do I say this? You're going to have to express that. If that means getting in a group or some type of therapy, or just cry it out. Get somewhere where it could just be you by yourself, and you can be free and vulnerable as much as you need to be. But some things it's gonna take God to help you not to repeat the same cycles mom did, the same cycles dad did, the same cycle. You don't want your kids to repeat the same cycles as you. So you have to, literally, I'm serious, you guys have to be careful of that, because I realized there's something that I did that my kids, I don't think I really shared with my kids, but I see my kids going through it.
Yeah.
I see my kids experiencing it. And so even with the part, I'm going to say this real quickly, domestic violence, I experienced that. But I also said out of my mouth, I said, this stops with me. It will not pass on from me to my children, from them to their children, or from their children to their children. It stops here.
Yeah.
And there's just some things where you have to become the chain breaker, the cycle breaker, the curse breaker. And that's only through Christ. You have to make up your mind that, you know what, I'm not going to stay in this funk like this. This is not healthy. It's not helping, and I want to be happy.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion.
Thank you for that. I appreciate you for calling in and sharing that information. You definitely helped us move this conversation forward, so I appreciate you. Before I get off the deck, I'm going to say this last piece for me, the willingness. You know, everything she said is cool, but at what point do we become willing to tell the truth to ourselves first? And I was 40. I was 40 when I got to the space where I was willing to tell the truth. I was in suicide ideation. Like I was in the dark. But why do we have to wait till people get in the dark to discover that? And that's why we're here, right, to have these kind of conversations. So I'm going to turn this over to the ladies. This is the Farron Dozier Show on the Military Broadcast Radio Network and KCA Radio 106.5 FM. Tip of the AM. Play the dental commercial, and then I'm going to disappear, and I'll be back. This is the Farron Dozier Show. Shout out to What's the Count.
Transform your life with a brighter smile at Smile More Dental. Our expert team is dedicated to giving you the confidence you deserve through exceptional dental care. Whether it's routine cleanings or advanced cosmetic treatments, we're here to enhance your unique smile. Schedule your appointment today by calling 310-645-8777. That's 310-645-8777. Or visit our website at smilemore-dental.com. Change your world one smile at a time.
We're back. We're live. Okay. So I want to kind of roll with something you left us with about willingness, and I think that's a really big principle that we miss. I call it the who principle. You can say the how principle. How do you do this? Willingness, honest. You have to be willing. You have to be honest, and you have to be open. Right? That's the who principle. Some people say it how. Okay, so you got to be honest, you got to be open, and you got to be willing. And I say it interchangeably because how do you do this? How do you become vulnerable? How do you deal with these emotional, traumas and different things that you've experienced in your past? And until you're willing to be honest with yourself and open enough to tell another human being or to look yourself in the mirror first, with some of these issues, you can't do anything. You can't even treat these things or begin to unpack these things because they're just so dynamic and so dense that you usually have to have somebody help you do it. Because if we could do it by ourselves, we would have did it. Just that's the bottom line. And there's research behind that too. You know, that's not just something, you know, I just came up without, you know, midair. People need people. Finding those people along your journey is when you start to really unpack those things and become willing to be honest with yourself and with others. And then that's when I think that journey kind of begins. Yes? Okay.
Pretty much. I mean, once you're able to trust somebody, you know, a support system, that's a big thing with willingness. Someone that's able to help support you and help you move forward in life, you know? So
Really just understanding what it is that you want too, personally, because how can we have the willingness to do something about what we don't know is broken or not? We have to be able to identify what it is that we want and have that picture drawn out clear for us mentally, emotionally, physically of what I want and what I don't want. And once I have the willingness to understand that, then I feel that I'll be able to ascertain those goals.
Yeah, absolutely. They say identifying a problem is 90% of the solution, right? Because until you can
Yes, ma'am.
correctly identify the problem, you can never apply anything to it. So
Yes.
I absolutely agree with that. And that's why I'm a huge mental health and therapist advocate, whether it's group therapy, talk therapy, EDMR. I'm very, very huge on people going to therapy or to talk to somebody.
Yeah.
Right.
Somebody with some sense. Somebody with some sense, maybe not somebody that couldn't give you the best advice, right? Hopefully a trained professional or somebody that has a track record that's proven that you can talk to. But one of the biggest things for me, and I was talking last time about being vulnerable, is in my mind, okay, vulnerability, I look at like if you're in the military, right, and you're vulnerable to your opponent, okay, that's not a good thing. You're putting yourself at risk to be harmed, right? To potentially die.
Absolutely.
So in my mind, that's how I look at vulnerability. So I don't like the term vulnerability. I think sometimes we use language and linguistics, and we can't always describe to best interpret those words. And I think for me, it's more being able to articulate what it is I need, what it is I want, and to get that same reciprocation. People have a really hard time identifying what they want and what they need, and saying it to somebody, looking somebody in the eyes and saying it to somebody, like, this is what I need from you, or this is what I want from you. But that goes back to what you said, is knowing what I need and what I want first. Because how can I have an expectation without my own expectations?
Absolutely. And vulnerability doesn't always have to be looked at as a weakness to me. I think it could be a beautiful thing. It is a beautiful thing when you're able to express yourself, open up, and be able to articulate what it is that you're feeling, what you mean, what you need. It's beautiful to me. So I take that word and I use it as a positive. That's a strength word for me. It doesn't have to be looked at as a negative, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking when I had watched the last podcast with you on it, and you had said harm. To me, it doesn't mean harm. To me, it means very soft, very able to be myself. It doesn't always mean that someone's going to take advantage of me or something negative is going to come, from being vulnerable. So I don't know. I don't see. I could see where you're coming from with the fear, with the harm and stuff. But I just, with me myself, I don't see it being that.
Well, because that's the definition of it is being in the line of fear. Being open, coming your way by expressing.
That's like the chances you take when you're open.
Exactly.
You just don't know how a person is going to look at you or what to expect from somebody in
Right.
that situation.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think my point in bringing that up too is how we all have different perspectives and attach different things to linguistics or how we communicate. Or we always have the saying, it's not what you say, it's how you say it, right? Or how our experience attach things to certain words.
Yes.
Have you ever had somebody say something to you and it reminded you of somebody you didn't like,
Yeah.
or something that bad happened to you and
Yeah.
it just triggers you, right? And it has nothing to do with that person necessarily or that situation, but because of the experience. And so a lot of these things we've attached. That's something I attach to vulnerability, but I'm conscious of it. And how do I work through that? I just like to call it, communicating effectively.
Yeah.
And I think that's what it boils down to, is knowing how to communicate effectively. And we don't learn that. Most of us don't. Our parents and schools don't even really, unless you're taking communications and post-secondary education, they don't even teach it properly, right?
exactly.
As a child.
Yeah, as a child, you're not really. We were told to. Children are to be there and you don't say nothing, right? That we weren't told to express our feelings.
Yeah, we weren't allowed to have a voice.
They didn't have social emotional learning in school, okay? They now do. And so we were just told to, children are to be seen and not heard.
Yeah.
So a lot of our generation,
They don't know how to express themselves.
we don't know how to express ourselves. And now we are here.
Breaking the cycle of that.
My
Yeah.
18-year-old knows how to communicate way more effectively than I did at 18 years old. And sometimes I catch myself saying the same thing, like, I'm the adult in this relationship. Like, how are you gonna, and I have to catch myself and give her that space to feel safe.
Yeah.
And
Especially if that's what you taught her
Yes.
to do. Right?
Yes.
So then it goes back to you saying you weren't given that ability to do so, but perhaps you broke that cycle and gave your child that ability to voice her opinion. And that's that's a beautiful thing, because that's how we prevent things from happening, right?
Yeah.
We're able to save lives that way as well,
Yeah.
by letting somebody have their voice.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, I honestly really don't. They pretty much said everything that I could possibly say, so everyone was on the right subject. Good topics.
So, no, it's perfect. So I want to, after the label vulnerable, like what's the word underneath that for you? If you take off the label vulnerable, what word would you use to describe what that is you're looking for? Like you're saying, how do we articulate our feelings and emotions? But for me, vulnerable is a label.
Yeah.
I'm describing some experience that I'm looking for from you, not from me, but from you. So then what is that experience that when you hear your husband do that or say that, that's like, he's being vulnerable. That's like, how do you identify that in yourself? That's the question.
Being open, being honest, authentic, effective communication. To me, that means you're open, you're saying what you feel, I'm hearing what you say, and we can now work from there, versus you being shut down and I don't know what you mean, your underlying issue.
Yeah.
I can't work well with that. I always say I can't fix something that I don't know is broken. So if you're not able to communicate with me or articulate what's going on behind your feelings and your emotions, I can't do anything about it. And to me, that's hard, because now I feel like my hands are behind my back. I can't help if I don't know what's wrong.
But so in that same space, though, if I want vulnerability from you, then I have to be that vulnerability to myself first.
Yeah.
So if I'm being vulnerable to myself, then do I really need you to be it?
But you need to be honest with yourself.
Communication.
You have to be open with yourself.
But I'm saying if I'm being vulnerable to myself, then if I show up and I'm talking to someone who I can sense that something's going on, am I responsible to create the space for that, or am I gonna wait for that person? See, it still seems like we're waiting for that person to then be vulnerable.
You would have to know
first.
that person is in that space. And I always go back to the communication, asking those questions. Is everything okay? Are you opening it up for them to feel safe enough to talk?
So open it up.
Yes.
Because I'm looking at the fruit of the spirit of the Bible, right? And if I want patience, then I have to be patient.
Yeah.
And the more that I
Sure.
practice being patient, that's the fruit that you're getting from me when you experience me. Oh man, Farron, you're patient.
Yeah.
So if vulnerable is a way of being, then I gotta create the space for the room to be vulnerable.
Yeah, but that looks
Even when-
different for everybody. You
Yeah,
might need
exactly.
patience, but what if the next person doesn't require patience for them to be vulnerable?
Right. So, but that's what I'm saying. So for
That's
you,
where communication comes in.
Yeah.
You have to communicate
Yes.
to know how someone feels, to know. I have to communicate with you to know and what to expect, or what you want in life and vice versa.
Yeah.
So without communication, what are we just going to leave open spaces and sit here playing a guessing game? Like, how do you
so what
feel,
word do
know?
you use outside of vulnerable that you, for yourself, that like if that person is, oh, that's vulnerable for them? Like, do you have a word for yourself outside of
No.
vulnerable? So
I
open,
don't-
honest, or
Well, honest. Honest would probably be my word to go to if I had to pick a word. But you have to know a person. You have to ask questions in order to get to know a person. And all of that comes with communication.
Yeah.
So that's the only way to kind of distinguish anything, about a person's feelings. Or you wouldn't even know if they're vulnerable if you didn't
Right.
speak to them.
Yes.
So.
I think too, oftentimes we say we want people to be open and honest with us, and then they are, and we shut them down because
Yeah,
of the way they approach it. Oftentimes, that 18 to 25-year-old group is called transitional aged youth, and I worked a lot heavily with the transitional aged youth with the largest nonprofit in San Bernardino County. Recently, we built a tiny home village up in Victorville, and we have the only CFS shelters and a whole bunch of different transitional aged youth housing in that program. They're phenomenal. Shout out to Family Assistance Program. But that group of foster youth who have had, they've been in 36. I had a youth that was in 36 group homes, okay, in foster care placements, right? When they come and they're vulnerable, it looks like hell.
yeah,
Okay.
chaos.
They are coming, they might even call me all kind of bags of bees that day because the amount of trauma that they have went through, but that's just how they have to let it out and express it. And oftentimes it's not you.
Right.
So you can't, one of the one of the 4 agreements is you can't take things personally, right? Because oftentimes people, in order for somebody to be open with you, you have to be able to receive what they're being open with you of without taking it personally.
Yeah.
Like that frustration is not really about you.
Yeah.
Oftentimes.
We're gonna come back to that because that's a key conversation. This is the Farron Dozier Show, KCA Radio 106.5 FM, 1050 AM, and the Military Broadcast Radio Network. Shout us out, what's the count?
Transform your life with a brighter smile at Smile More Dental. Our expert team is dedicated to giving you the confidence you deserve through exceptional dental care. Whether it's routine cleanings or advanced cosmetic treatments, we're here to enhance your unique smile. Schedule your appointment today by calling 310-645-8777. That's 310-645-8777. Or visit our website at smilemore-dental.com. Change your world, one smile at a time.
All right, welcome back to the Farron Dozier Show. We got a full deck, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Farron Dozier Show, KCA Radio 106.5 FM, 1050 AM. We're just pulling off these layers of what it is to be vulnerable. Vulnerability, for some of us, is painful. For some of us, is softness. And we've got all these different perspectives, perceptions, interpretations. Randy's on the deck right now. Randy, what you got? What's your question, man? Grab the mic. Don't be shy.
My question for the ladies is, in real time, right now, what is your take on all this right here? How can this be incorporated into what you got going on right now, and how can it be a motivation for the listeners and anybody that's having issues in this area?
My take on this is I don't think anything happens by chance, right? So there must be a reason in pertaining to my own life, right? I'll take this as a message, right? Either to look and evaluate my relationships and see if I'm doing what I said I need to be doing, number one. Number two, how can I be better at receiving feedback or receiving and being open for others to be, because I'm often that person, the go-to person, right? So learning to be that, but also learning to have boundaries and be able to express and tell people. I'm very blunt. I've had to soften myself. Really, I've had to soften myself in the field of work I do. And I don't want to cuss on your show, but I won't. But I'll tell something that something's no good, and that's just what it is. But I have employees that work for me, right? I've had numerous employees, and some people can't handle that type of direct communication, even though I appreciate it. Yeah. Don't beat around the bush. Right. Just give it to me cut and dry. I can work with that, right? But a lot of people are really sensitive to. You kind of have to give them the spoonful of sugar, right? With the medicine, right? You can't give it to them just the sugar and the medicine.
So with me right now, where I'm at in life, I have no problem telling somebody how it is, but I guess when they tell me, that's the part where I'm like, hey, you need to rephrase that, because I did not like how you just said that. But I have noticed with myself, when I do speak to other people, I'm like, dang, you did not, have to do all that. You did not have to be that harsh. So with this,
you hear yourself like,
yeah, okay, and I have to realize that. Or for instance, with work, I realize I'm very patient at work because I work with the public. But then when I get home, I have no patience with my kids, and I'm just like, wait, if I could practice this with these people I don't know, I think my kids deserve the patience more than the public. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So with this conversation and with everything that's being said, it's kind of making me reevaluate, maybe I'm gonna have to start listening to people and letting people tell me how it is like I tell them, because there is a soft spot, there's a fear. Everyone has their own personal interpretations, and my way is not always the right way.
Yeah, thank you.
And so with this conversation, it's kind of making me was that a good choice coming here?
It was. You made the right choice. For me, I mentioned vulnerability or being vulnerable as it doesn't have to be weak. You don't have to look at it as a weakness. And so I have to practice what I preach on that as well, because I feel that I had to grow up in a position of being strong-willed and kind of being a little hardcore, right? Because it was a protective mechanism for myself. Mm-hmm. So I often feel that I handle things and I internalize things a lot on my own versus being that vulnerable person and letting other people understand and see and feel what I'm experiencing. So as we sit here today, I have to practice what I preach as well and kind of take that for what it's worth and be able to open up a little bit more and trust in the process of knowing that I don't have to be that strong anymore.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I want you to go before I go.
I think for me, I've been vulnerable for a long time in my life, and it was circumstances that made me have to say, you know what, I'm gonna have these boundaries, and I'm not gonna just let you interfere with my own personal space. And it took a lot. It took a lot for me just to open up and see how important it was for me to know who I am. Yeah. So the vulnerable part, like I said, just with family and friends, it's a separation for me. It's like I can't be this way with my friends and then this way with my family. I have to be the same, and so I can get the same results across the board, you know. So everybody knows I'm this way. Like, okay, I'm cool with that. Yeah. If I don't do that, then I'm just like in my thoughts, in my head, especially dealing with my wife. You know, she's, you know, if I hold it in, she's like, okay, she gonna pull it out of me. Yeah. Like it's gonna take a lot to pull it out, because I'm like, nah, close in, and she's like, no, it's not gonna work like that.
Yeah.
So for her and just learning how to be a better husband, that I had to be vulnerable. Yeah.
For me, this is big for me because I still, even though I recognize where it came from, I'm still like in the space because for me, emotion, transition and change was emotional for me. So to be able to open up and say how I feel, like honest, I don't think people can handle that because of what happened when I was being honest. So then I'm guarded. So then I don't say what I feel because I'm afraid that if I say what I feel, then you're not going to accept me. And then I'm end up being by myself. I'm be alone. I'm on my own. And then because you can kill off relationships. I like how Lakeisha said that sometimes you don't have to say something, you just don't say, right? Until maybe the guy gives you the space to say that. Maybe not to that person, but for someone else to learn from that. So that's starting to settle. I've heard this conversation. Shout out to Lupita. She told me that as well. Like some conversations that you've dealt with in your trauma that you're healing from, you may not need to say that to a woman just yet. Maybe that's just for you to go to God and heal, cry it out, whatever, until you're in the space where you can articulate that. Or maybe not even take that to that person at all, because it may just not need to be for that person to hear in their space. So the biggest thing, my fear is that if I'm truly who Farron wound up to be, they don't want to hear that guy because that guy was a hurt guy. So now I have to be a whole nother person, practice. Yeah, I have to practice being a way that how I want to be today because I'm not 14. So if I'm be 14 right now, then it's done.
It's bad.
So who am I at 56? I want to be this kind of, I want to be open, honest, and vulnerable. So then I have to practice being there but I have to be that to myself first. And as she said, we don't get that taught to us, and we get in relationships and it's trial and error. And I think that's what happens to us in those ages is I'm trying to figure it out. And so I'm gonna try this, and then you don't like that, then now what? Now I'm guarded. I'm back to my guard again. So any last comments? We got a couple minutes left.
I think the beauty of all of this is that, they always say read the room, right? And we have to be able to code shift, right? And know who I know I wasn't supposed to cuss on this radio show, right? But as an honest and open person, I might have on a different show or somewhere else, and I take accountability of that, and I can be open and free. I'm not trying to put up any type of front or anything of that nature, but when we're and I relate that back to being vulnerable, because you need to know who you can be vulnerable with. You need to look around you. Like you can usually tell within like the first 5 minutes of talking to somebody, whether they'll go and tell your business,
Right.
or they won't.
Exactly.
Okay. Or if I can give them a task to do and they can complete it, or if they're gonna get it done, are they trustworthy? Do they are they reliable? Are they somebody who, you can typically kind of look at the patterns.
But I like what you said, and it's patience. So if I had to peel off being vulnerable, right, as a label, then patience is the next way to be. Because if you create the space for patience, it creates a space for communication. Because communication is supposed to be harmonious.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm listening to harmony. I'm listening to your tone, your choice of words, your body. But if I'm listening to react to you, because I don't think you got the patience for me, or I don't have the patience. So I like how you said patience. Patience is a virtue, and it's the fruit of the Spirit.
Yes.
Biblically. So the patience is huge for us as people. So anything you got before we get out of here?
Good. 2 minutes. I would just say that what I'm learning right now is just the boundaries. I think when women and men have these vulnerabilities, but we don't express them because the questions are never exposed out. So,
so when you say boundaries, this is going to be a conversation I have on Beyond 2D. Sometimes we don't realize that our language boundaries also blocks us.
Yeah. But
so we put up these language, because I can't show you my boundary in nature. It's a description.
Yeah.
So, but sometimes we don't realize that I'm putting up these boundaries around people, but I'm also blocking myself. So now I can't even be exposed or open up because I got this boundary protecting really me from you.
Exactly.
So it
That's
does.
what
It
a
does.
But the boundary,
boundary
that's what I
is,
say.
a protective mechanism for self.
Right.
For me to see how I can react towards you. I'm setting a boundary so I know if you're going to cross it or you're going to stay within the boundaries.
But it's in language. A person can't see it. How would I know what your boundary is if you don't articulate and tell me, hey, check this out. This is where I'm at.
Because it's by actions.
I don't
Yeah,
even
but
think
then
you're supposed to see the boundary.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but then when you have a boundary, then you're blocking it from someone else. Like,
You're blocking you as well.
exactly. So then it's like we're never going to have anything without communication because what are you protecting yourself from and what are you protecting yourself from?
In language.
And why are we not becoming one as a whole? Why
In
are we
language.
stopping this and not
That's
communicating?
a discussion right there.
It's a discussion. Before we go. How many? 20 Okay. We got to play that PSA. So thank you all for tuning and listening.
Thank
in.
you.
Thank you for
Thank
being
you.
here and sharing, being open and honest and vulnerable and patient with us on the show today, ladies and gentlemen. Shout out to Lakeisha for calling in. Thank you for that spiritual dialogue that we need. And this is the Front Dozier Show. Shout out to Count.
Transform your life with a brighter smile at Smile More Dental. Our expert team is dedicated to giving you the confidence you deserve through exceptional dental care. Whether it's routine cleanings or advanced cosmetic treatments, we're here to enhance your unique smile. Schedule your appointment today by calling 310-645-8777. That's 310-645